Good afternoon, guys. Hi, my name is John Baumgartner, and I'm going to just give a few thoughts on all of our work up to this point and the videos and all the chapter readings and all of that. As I've said in a few of my posts, I'm not really surprised with any of this information that we've been getting. I've always felt like there were some big issues in our country about justice and inequality. Um, Growing up as a white middle class kid, I definitely felt that I always felt that I had some white privilege. I don't know why, but I just did. I felt like, because I was white, the color of my skin and stuff just was going to open more doors. And, I found that to be true in my last career, where I just moved up and up and up. Um, but as and let me, how am I going to say this? And that poverty begets poverty. Period. I mean, these people. I had an opportunity where my parents didn't make a lot of money, but they had enough money to be able to send me or help me with college. Um, Whereas a lot of these people just never get that opportunity. When you're making not even enough money to support your household for basic needs like food and shelter and all of that stuff, you're just working paycheck to paycheck. How could you ever rise above that? Who's got the money to go get educated and in order to move up? Although some of that does happen, it's usually by windfall that it does. So um, again, talking about like the tip of the iceberg with Daryl Wheeler, is social justice attainable? The question, it's a big question, and one that I get overwhelmed with when I think about trying to help to see if I can make a difference. Am I really going to make a difference by helping two, three, five, 10 people in my lifetime? To show them social services and programs that they can use to get ahead. Is that really going to help? So that's why I've kind of been leaning towards. I've just been really interested um, in the advocating issue, because somebody's got to do it, and I just don't see that it's being done. Our country has turned into something more like what I see is, you have politicians talking about Christian values, and I don't know where they get off talking about these things, because if you have Christian values, as history tells us, then we help each other. We don't just help our immediate family. We don't just help, we help the world, and that's what I don't know, people, we're such in a narcissistic society that everybody's just out to help themselves. So I don't know, if I can make a difference, but I'm going to certainly try like hell. The privilege questionnaire, as I said, no shock there. I got I'm not happy to say, but I got a 30 out of 30. I've always thought about these situations because, growing up as a gay man, I felt like I had a few less opportunities, or at least was was semi oppressed because of my sexuality. But I had the race card in my favor, so that certainly helped me a lot. Um, but I understand the oppression. I understand. I remember when I was living in Washington D.C. This was back in the late '80s, and going into a grocery store near my house for the first time, and I thought, wow, here I am in this grocery store, and I'm like the only white person here. But my mind was always geared like, well, wow, I completely understand how everybody else must feel in this society where, you know, uh, normal day to day, I see more white people around me than I do black people, so I've always been cognizant of that, and always been a little more empathetic, shall I say, about the whole situation. So, I also read a couple of different articles this week. about this guy who's I guess he's a comedian, and he went in. This was from the HuffPost, and he went into this prison to talk to inmates, and he also talked about incarceration in America, and he said he certainly met some people that were despicable people, but he also met some people that he felt like deserved a second chance. Um, Not everybody in jail was in there was a bad person. Some are desperate, some are crazy, and some are innocent. Our social justice system, you know, tends to incarcerate people instead of trying to help them and to try to rehabilitate them. Half of these people, when I look at people, particularly that come into the treatment center where I work, these people don't have a clue. They have gotten onto drugs at a very early age. They didn't have great support from their families, and they've never had responsibility. They've never known about responsibility. They've never known how to live, period. They didn't know how to get an ID. They didn't know how to get, you know, they didn't know how to rent an apartment. They didn't know how to do bank accounts, all of this stuff. And it's just, stuff continues to perpetuate, in with those that are living in poverty. And then I read another article about this Texas teacher that was fired for these disturbingly racist posts in response to the pool party incident. And this kind of, I'm going to leave you guys with this. This kind of just speaks of our society today, where I believe that, the white male population or the white middle class, whatever, that are running our country have their heads in the sand. Basically, they feel as though, oh, we dealt with that race issue. Now they need to get over it. Well, that's not the case. And this woman, the thing she wrote that she posted and she got fired for, is a great example of this undercurrent, which kind of brings it all full circle, under the tip of the iceberg. So this woman says, this officer should not have to resign. I'm going to go ahead and just say it. The blacks are the ones causing the problems in this racial tension. I guess that's what happens when you flunk out of school and have no education. And then her post continues, I'm sure there are parents just as guilty for not knowing what their kids are doing, or knew it and didn't care. I'm almost to the point of wanting them all segregated on one side of town so they can hurt each other and leave the innocent people alone. Maybe the 50s and 60s were really onto something. Now let the bashing of my true and honest opinion begin. Well, she did get bashed and she did get fired, and she should have. But this is, I believe that this was running rampant in our country today. And I believe that as, those that don't understand poverty don't want to understand it. There's a big education curve that needs to happen here. And I am just I'm hopeful that I'm going to be able to just help to educate people, whether it's on a micro mesa level, I'm not sure, but I hope that I'm going to be able to help others. Those that are on the lowest rung, living in poverty, don't have a freaking chance, period. The way our society is set up today. And hopefully I will be able to help with that. Thanks.